Island Turtle here. I also go by Lila Selena. Welcome to BOMISpirit. So this is going to be a blackout, another blackout message for today. This seems to be the theme lately. I imagine it's partly because of Mercury's gone retrograde in Scorpio. This feels like a very Scorpionic way of delivering messages. But you know what? I'm here for it. And actually, give me 1 second. Let me make sure my phone's on Do Not Disturb. Hold on here. Oh, good, it is. Okay. All right, so let's get to some of the stuff at hand. So there was just some stuff coming up this morning in my morning practice that I feel like are going to benefit some people. And I will say it's like, since sitting this morning, there's just more and more and more coming through. So I'm going to do my best to articulate this in a non-scattered manner. Well, to the best of my ability anyway. There's definitely going to be quite a few groups who are going to resonate with what I have to say. So please take the messages as they resonate, because I'm picking up on some broader collective energies and then some more niche collective energies under that like umbrella experience, if you will. Hi, Jana. You've been on my mind so much, you have no idea. Let's see. Hi, Bommy. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Grand Rising. Happy Friday. Happy Venus Day, which actually I think is like so perfect. Today is a Venus day, as Venus is also moving closer into a trine with the North Node, which is going to be amazing, especially for anybody who's been going through what's in the title, right? Confusion, numbness, excuse me, stillness, anxiety. I don't know if I put anxiety in there, but anxiety is part of it for some people. Now, let's get into some of the things maybe happening here. Okay, so first thing, the solar flares. The solar flares that took place have definitely activated some people. You would know who you are. They were pretty intense, man. I mean, I think we all felt it in some way. But, you know, when we get hit with these kind of solar flares, this kind of intense sun energy, not only can it activate, but it can also clear things, which is actually quite a beautiful gift. And also coming right after the full moon Taurus and after Samhain, which was already their own portal in and of themselves. It has been helping certain people clear some, like, the way they showed it to me was like sludge, like toxic sludge, which I think is actually a really great analogy for it. And we're going to get into like the metaphysical mechanics of all that. But yeah, to clear that kind of stuff, some people may have been moving through like this kind of numbness, disassociation. Some people may have been perceiving it as like feeling like they need to be in a bubble or they need to be within. Some people may have been feeling it like no matter how hard they try, they don't have energy to do anything. Some people, like in going out in the public, you just found it very difficult to be out in the public, and then that kind of pushed you to kind of sit still or go within. So no matter how it's been happening for you, all of these energies have been supporting, even astrologically. Astrologically, this has been part of it too, but I digress. A lot of these energies have been leaving a lot of people feeling a little confused or bewildered, tired, and like lethargic, and also feeling this like strange emotional shift. Some people, especially those who resonated with the message I put out, the 144 channeling message that I put out, I think it published Wednesday, where it's more of a cellular shift, like an alchemical shift. You may even associate that with ascension. That's not for everybody. You know who you are. So these are the different groups of people that I'm speaking to at this time. So no matter what group you're finding yourself in, this sludgy energy, the reason there's also been this like weird numbness about it is because this sludgy energy, you are clearing it. It is very much like a detox. And this disconnection takes place to allow for it to actually finally move. And for some people, this kind of numbness and even confusion about it, how do I want to say, has also taken place because for some people, it's just that deeply rooted or just that potent. You aren't visible. Yeah, this is just a format that has been happening very naturally to have a blackout screen as I talk. And I'm just honoring that, Mandy. So just letting you know. Yeah, I'm here. I see y'all. I see all your comments. Thank you. Good morning. Good morning. But yeah, it's just the format that wants to happen these days. So just flowing with it. But coming back here. So regardless of how potent these sludgy energies, emotions are, or how much even there's been some spiritual assistance, there's been a lot of angel energy and dragons too. We'll get to that. There's definitely a dragon group in here, but excuse me, the way they were showing it to me is like almost like two different bodies. And so some of the sludgy energy can also pertain to an old timeline that you are being disconnected from, that you're being pulled out of, exalted out of, extracted, catapulted. These are different words being used for people's different experiences of removal or release of these realities, these timelines or versions of self. Now, the way they showed it to me, these two bodies was like a cord being severed, and then the body that's being left behind, like literally just disintegrates into sludge. Is like how they were showing it to me, but it's still very much like in the body. And so there's still this like clearing that needs to take place. Now we're going to get into some more niche and nuanced messages for those who need to hear them. Okay. This sludgy energy, you know, it is a detox, but like when we're detoxing, we're getting rid of toxins, or we're getting rid of things that are now harmful to us. And maybe they weren't always harmful to us. And when I say these sludgy things or energies, that can encompass a lot of different things. That it can encompass emotions. That can even encompass memories. Even like somatic cellular memories of trauma. That can also encompass narratives and belief systems. That can also encompass attachments to people and places and things of that nature. So however that resonates for you. But this sludgy energy is now toxic to us, even if it wasn't always. And for some of you, this sludgy energy is moving because you've actually made, some of you, a conscious decision to say no. Some of you an unconscious, well, I'm not gonna say unconscious, a very subconscious, thank you, intention of saying no or no more to a certain experience or emotion, cycle, insert here, whatever applies for you, because it's different for everybody. Now we're moving this toxic sludge. And the way that Spirit was also equating it for me is like some people, especially if you're getting more like anxiety and like little waves of like confusion, because like maybe there's some things coming up that are really old and you're like, what the hell? I'm done with this. And you are very much done with it. But when we're clearing something or being extracted or pulled out of something, and I've been saying this a lot lately, it needs to make itself known on its way out. And if you're new to my channel, hi, hello, glad you're here. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hype, share, comment, all that good stuff. But yeah, if you're new, this is probably the first time you're hearing this from my channel anyway, that a lot of these things, when they leave, like they want to make themselves known as a way of cementing that release, you know? So if you've been having like really old thoughts or emotions or feelings coming up that are like super, super old and have made you feel a little discouraged, I want to say try your best to not feel discouraged. I understand why. That's like very human, you know, but just know that it really is done and it's just leaving and it's just on its way out and it's okay. And I know you're probably very tired. You're probably very fatigued, whoever's experiencing that, especially if you've been on a very prolonged journey of like evolution, I want to say. And it's okay. You're allowed to feel that. You're human. It's okay. But I want to come back to this like toxic sludge analogy that they were showing me. There's a lot more to talk about, guys. So we're getting there. I just want to hit all the details for everybody who needs it, okay? And again, if you're not resonating with this right now, there may be some stuff coming up in the next few minutes that has more to do with like creativity, the sacral, the roots, feminine stuff, you know, we'll get there. Anyway. So as this toxic sludge is being detoxed, they were giving me this analogy of like environmental degradation. So there's a lot of reference here to the physical vessel, okay? And we all know the body holds a lot. The body takes a lot on our behalf. The body processes a lot on our behalf. And again, some of you, this is a very cellular kind of a shift, okay? And so you may have a lot of physical sensations or symptoms that coincide with this detox. And this has been going on for days. I just want to let you know, but like they were just wanted to give me the message today, but this has been going on for days. Some of you may also see a shift in your actual vessel, like how your vessel looks, how your vessel even feels, like skin changes, even like, you know, kind of that kind of thing. But this environmental degradation, they were basically highlighting like what happens when we pollute the land. What happens when the body gets polluted with these things that are harmful, whether they are emotional or just thought forms or people or environment or just energies or whatever. When the environment gets polluted, let's say a river gets polluted. This is the example here. Something gets poured in the river. It kills all the life in it. It makes the water not even drinkable, usable. It starts to seep into the groundwater, and then it starts to kill crops or affect crops, and then we can't eat the food off the land, right? It's the same kind of analogy. It's like, especially if some stuff has been coming up that's really old, it's a matter of like what needs to come first. The first thing is you cut off the source of the pollution. You cut off the source of the toxicity. Some of you have done this years ago. Some of you maybe you're just coming to realization of what has been contributing to the toxifying of your vessel, even if it's energetic or thought forms, etc., whatever. You cut off the source of pollution. And then you go and clean the river. You take out the obvious things, the solid toxic waste, and then you go in a little deeper, right? Then you start to try to shift the balance of the ecosystem of the river. And then you go a level deeper, and then you go into the soils. How do I fix the soils? Get rid of all of the bad crops and the bad vegetation, right? And then you go in and you actually look and dissect the soil chemistry, and okay, how do we fix that, right? It's like there's a lot of levels and layers to healing and bringing back into balance the land, just like it is the body. Which means also some of you, again, have been doing this for a very long time with very particular things. Maybe you cut off a toxic relationship with someone years ago, and then you had to go into your heart space, and then you had to do some cleaning up there, and then you had to go into your beliefs, and you had to go and do some cleanup there. And for some of you now, you're deep in the soil chemistry, and now you're rebalancing your whole cellular structure. Like, you see what I'm saying? And a lot of this is also just a consequence of making the choice. Also what came up before, right? It's like some of you have made a very conscious decision to say no more to certain experiences or feelings or thoughts, patterns, etc. And some of you have made a very silent choice of no more, and this is the consequence of that choice. Okay. Now, I know there's so much going on here. So much going on today. Ooh, 144. Hello. Now, today in particular, and I think especially as Venus is moving further out of this square with Pluto, thank God, and going closer into this trine with the North Node, we are starting to feel the actual toxicity really leaving the vessel. And the way they showed it to me, I won't lie, it was kind of gross. It's like the colors they were showing me was kind of like a yellowish greenish, but like not the nice kind of yellowish greenish. Y'all know what I'm talking about? Like the kind of colors we associate with like infection, basically leaving. Some of you may also associate this with the word venom. Okay, just different words I can feel in the collective right now. And as this is leaving, some areas of the body were getting highlighted. Definitely joints, a lot of like energy stuck in joints, particularly the hips and the low back. The low back, oh my God, feeling so much in the low back. Some of you, this may also go through like the entirety of your lower body, like your legs, your knees, your ankles, your feet. I was definitely getting a lot with the feet as well. Hey Clyde, we got the Clydester here. Hi buddy. I was getting a lot with the feet. There's definitely some root stuff going on in here, and there's different groups and pertaining to that too, which we're gonna get to. Buddy, I know, I'm right here. It's okay. Some of you, this also may have been coinciding with the shoulders, the neck, and the heart space. And I feel like for those who are in that group, that may have also been shifting in these last few days. For those having the numbness, like the emotional numbness, especially, I would even say this would help anybody who's experiencing any of this stuff, but I know it's really hard in our day and age to take time for ourselves, especially when we're going through this kind of shit. It's going to be so helpful if you haven't already. Two things were coming up here. One, to really allow yourself to embrace stillness and quiet, even though it feels uncomfortable, and even though you're feeling this numbness, and even though you may be feeling like, I don't know what's going on, I don't really know what to do, I don't really know what I feel or think anymore. You know, some of you, it's that extreme where like maybe you're wanting to question everything, and even in that, you almost don't have the energy to even question anything, but deep down you're questioning everything. It's like, it's a very interesting energy. I know it's uncomfortable and I know it's not the greatest, but to really take that stillness and quiet and just let yourself be in that weird numbness, and you may be surprised that if you allow yourself to be there, and I really mean just be, like, I know you all know what that means, but I know some people aren't there yet as far as having that experience of what it is to just be. And sometimes and I'm going to let off track here. I'm going to come back, I promise. I don't know. I guess sometimes I get a little, is it frustration? Maybe it is frustration. Because I know that some people are really like hearing what I'm saying, and I know some people are struggling to understand, and I just want to help people who like are struggling to understand. Anyway, not important, but coming back here. When I say just be, when I say just feel, I don't mean, oh, I'm feeling this. That's intellectual. And until you've gotten to that point where you know what it feels like to just be, it can be so frustrating. And I know it can add to your confusion. And I totally understand to get there by experience. And obviously, there are many people who can help you with that. And yes, meditation helps. Breath work, that was the next thing I was going to speak about, how important breath work is actually for stuff like that. Let yourself have the experiences you need to have in order to learn some of these things, because even if you get help from other people, which is always great, developing your own way, I think, is incredibly vital for everybody. But that's just my opinion. But anyway, but allowing yourself to be in stillness and really just sit with your stillness and sit with your numbness, not trying to figure it out, just literally let yourself just sit there, and you really may be surprised at what comes up. And in terms of like the body stuff, especially the low back and the joints and the legs, the ankles, just all that stuff, something else that may help is also just placing your hand on those parts of your body and just let yourself feel that. Let yourself breathe into those parts of your body and just let yourself experience whatever comes of that. Again, really emphasizing not intellectualizing anything. Especially if you're experiencing emotional numbness, breath work is going to help tremendously. And it doesn't have to be intense either. I actually recommend, for what's going on right now, is very gentle breath work. Like, I mean, I'm just going to gently breathe into my where I can and then release it. Not forcing anything. I think that's something else that I see a lot with breath work, where people get kind of intense about it or aggressive with their own breath. And you don't need to do that. That's not necessary. Gentility is the word of the day. And even if you just let yourself breathe simply, naturally, even that is breath work. Excuse me. Ooh. It's very dry where I'm at. And it definitely is wreaking havoc on my asthma. Anyway, so breath work, silence, sit in the uncomfortable numbness of it all, and it actually may start to shift. A lot of times we just need to give ourselves space for that, space to just let ourselves be in those states, and then those states start to shift naturally. Okay? Now, as you start to shift out of these states, as this toxicity starts to move, even if it's just energetic or emotional or other, because some of you, there's actually like a physical toxicity going on, like a getting rid of like an infection. Infection was a big word coming up, which I thought was kind of interesting. But you know who you are. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a mental health professional. I'm not a physical doctor. Do what you got to do to take care of yourself, as always. But as these shifts start to take place, excuse me, you may start to feel less numb. You may start to even feel a little bit motivated. You actually may start to feel like, oh, I can actually like kind of do some stuff again. But I really, really, really want to encourage gentility. I really want to encourage softness, because for some people, this is a really, really big thing for your vessel, and some people not so much. And again, you know who you are. Use your own discernment for that. All right. Now, coming out of this toxicity moving, there were some other things being highlighted. All right. So there's definitely some people where there's an ancestral group thing going on. There's another group of you where there's some feminine mother stuff going on. And then there's some of you where it's like there's some interesting metaphysical references. especially to dragons and Lemuria, which I thought was interesting. So actually, let's start there and we'll work our way back to the other things. For some people, I was seeing this sacral root heart thing going on here, where as you're moving energy out of the sacral and the root, it's almost like something is opening in the heart and there's energy being able to drop in deeper through your system. And it does seem like a top-down thing. And so you may have been working energy through your chakras, like going from upper to lower, and now you're really in the lower, which is beautiful. And it feels like once you're going to be anchored into your, I'm getting Earth Star, anchored into your root, into your Earth Star, which is how we connect to the Earth and the grid. There's almost like your entire system is just going to light up and just be very balanced, actually, very balanced, very open, very solid. And then I started to see a rainbow dragon with that. And immediately I was like, oh, that's Lemurian dragon. Actually, oh my God, that's so funny. Now I'm seeing a rainbow tree of life. Love it. That's, to me, that just says like the whole system is going to be balanced, and that's beautiful. You may feel like you have a new lease on life. You may feel very clear about just being in your own flow, which is all beautiful stuff, but it just feels like a solidifying of, a clearing elevation sort of an experience or process. And you know who you are if you're in that boat. So there's that group. I almost want to leave the feminine stuff for last, but ancestral, this one was really interesting to me. So around Samhain, we had a lot of ancestral energy just kind of flood the collective, which I think was great. But how do I want to say? Okay, let me back up. One, it was necessary. That was very necessary. It also was just the time of the year, especially here in the Northern Hemisphere. But that ancestral energy, the reason it was necessary is because for some people, that was a pivotal part of what you're processing now or what you've been detoxing from now is some ancestral things. And that may even tie into the mother feminine group here. Okay. And excuse me, what I was getting with that was like a switching up of ancestral guides, almost like a handoff. Excuse me. For some people, like you're actually working with different ancestors now than you were before, almost like there were certain ancestors that were maybe taking up a little bit more bandwidth in your field than they should have been. And we love our ancestors, we do. But sometimes the ancestral connections get a little tricky. I think it's a good word for that. Because I do feel like for some of you, what you've been clearing out, sorry, there's a couple things here. If you're in this ancestral group, I'm feeling two more groups emerging within that, where one group of you've been clearing some ancestral things in terms of being a lineage breaker. It's always beautiful. But the second group, I'm almost getting like you've actually been bombarded by ancestral baggage in a way that it's like you weren't meant to, or it just was too much, or something about it was like out of balance or not okay actually. And like that's been rectified or being rectified now. And I feel like for that group, that actually may tie into some of the mother energy and some of the feminine energy as well. Let me see if there's anything else left to be said about the ancestors. Thank you. And in terms of the ancestral group, yeah, it just feels like a really healthy rebalancing and recalibration. And for some of you, being passed on to other ancestral guides that are more in alignment with your evolution of where you're at now. Okay. All of that feels really lovely. And some of you that may even coincide with some sort of a calling or birthright experience, you know who you are. So there's that. This mother energy feels a little fragile. I'm not going to lie. This definitely feels like it's tied into the sacral, and I'm seeing the tailbone specifically. It almost feels like there's like a little ball of energy stuck there or something. And this could pertain to Kundalini energy as well. But yeah, that's kind of interesting. Why does this feel so fragile? They're slowing me down. Um, Thank you. They're reminding me of some things I saw earlier today. So there's also like these energies flowing around that are very neon electric kind of energy, like in color. Okay, that's what I'm trying to say. I'm deep in it now, so my speech might start getting a little interesting. I was seeing this like electric light blue energy and like this really striking orange, like stunning, just stunning, beautiful colors. And I feel like there's some people who are Like these colors are emerging in your aura because of where you're at, like in your auric field. And this is definitely feeling like throat sacral stuff. So I feel like this is going to be more for people who might start to sing, or maybe you enjoy singing or writing. It feels very vocal though, like actually hearing having your voice be heard, not just read. So whoever that is for, I do see that coming up in your auric field, and you may have been going through quite a bit of a throat activation as of late. But I want to come back to this tailbone mother energy. Something about that feels very stubborn. Feels very, very stubborn. Um, mm, Oh, this feels deep. This feels really deep. First of all, this group that I'm about to get into, you really need a massage. Okay. And if you can't afford it, I get it. There's massage schools that, you can get a better rate. There's Groupons. You can even roll out if you need to. Like and if you don't know what that is, um, it's like a special like foam. You can get like a foam roller. You can even get like a tennis ball. It doesn't have to be fancy. You can even I've used some really interesting objects in the past to roll my muscles out. I'm trying to remember the things I use. I've used some of Clyde's cat toys before. You can get creative if you can't afford to buy any of these things that are made to roll your muscles out. But really around the hips and that, like the glutes especially, I feel a lot of energy is like held up there, and I really want to say stubborn. Really stubborn energy, really stubborn emotions. And I'm feeling this like, it feels like a ball of different energies. And I think that's why this is feeling so fragile, which is also kind of strange, to use those words in the same sentence, like stubborn and fragile, you know? Um, it almost feels like, okay, I'm going to speak about this in terms of one person, but I know it applies to many people. It almost feels like someone, like your feminine energy has almost been strangled. I don't know another way to say that, by this stubborn energy that's like in your hips and in your tailbone. But what's weird about it is like the things I'm definitely feeling survival. I'm definitely feeling that. I'm definitely feeling a difficulty with relaxing, a difficulty with like trust and safety. All of that is definitely there. Um, but I want to say strangled. And it's very weird to feel that or even say that in relation to like that part of the body, almost like your feminine energy's been getting choked out by something. um I feel like this actually has, you know what, it might this feels like a complex thing here, because I feel like it's tied to masculine energy but distorted. um Actually, you know what? Actually, I want to say distorted masculine and distorted feminine energy that doesn't feel like yours. Yeah, there it is. That's what it is. That's what it is. This could absolutely be parental or ancestral. And again, you may have resonated with the ancestral group. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah, this group may also be clearing sexual connections. And when I say sexual connections, I don't just mean people that you have had sexual intercourse with. I mean people who have also crossed your boundaries, which could be men and women alike. Um, but when they've crossed your boundaries from a very distorted place where it does feel like taking, yeah, I'm seeing like, not to be, not to go there, but I just got to be honest with what I see. I am seeing like tentacle like energies. I just got to call a spade a spade. Um, if you've been having weird dreams about people from your past, that's probably why. Because you're clearing this. Yeah, it does. It feels like your own natural feminine energy. Um, yeah, yeah, they're saying like your pure natural feminine energy has been like strangled or entangled or restricted by some of these distorted masculine and feminine energies. I think that's why they're highlighting both hips as well, like not just one. Um, and again, this is a violation of boundaries kind of a thing. It doesn't have to be purely about sex or or physical intimacy. In a lot of ways, it's like, how do I want to say? When people cross our boundaries, that is an intimate violation. Even if we don't see it that way, the body can experience it that way, the soul can experience it that way. um I'm trying to like tune into that a little bit more. It's interesting. It feels almost like they're both those distorted energies are rooted in control, but they like probably have manifested differently with people that you have dealt with. Like you may have dealt with people who are very controlling manipulative, very controlling and very manipulative. Um, but I'm also getting like a siphoning. Like I'm getting like a what's like a incubus succubus kind of a thing. Sorry, I know I don't really like those words either. I can feel some people that's like a trigger word. Probably should have said trigger warning. Sorry. Um, but that's what I'm getting. Like different people have crossed your boundaries in a way of almost like controlling and like restricting you, and then also on the other end um like almost like trying to like yeah like take you in, siphoning, just like siphoning energy. So if you're in that group, again, massage is going to help you so much. I also feel water is going to be incredibly helpful. Stay hydrated as well, obviously, but like um a lot of water, being in water, like a hot tub. If you got like a gym membership, I would do that. Like a sauna, I'd do that. Some like cleansing baths or showers, I would absolutely do that. Even if you can just get by some water, like a lake, even if it's man-made, a lake, a river, ocean, something. Even just listening to water sounds would be helpful. Drinking a lot of tea would be helpful. And actually, even in that same vein, I would say some chamomile tea would actually be really good for that. Chamomile is really great for bringing in peace, but it's also great for the inner child. It's also great for cleansing and clearing. Um, yeah, chamomile tea would be great. Rose is always amazing too, just for the heart space, but I'm feeling like it needs to like get in there, you know? Working with mugwort will also be helpful. Um, and maintain your boundaries. I feel like, yeah, and this is why we left this group for last. Boundaries for this group is going to be really important. Okay. Especially given it is Mercury retrograde. And I can feel for some of you, it's like there's a lot of like relationship stuff tied into this. And so if you still have connections with some of these people, I would just really be cognizant of the energy exchanges you're having with these people if they're still around in your life or in your field, and just have really healthy boundaries around that while you're detoxing. Because it's kind of that same thing of like, okay, you're detoxing these energies, right? But you know, if you're detoxing and then you're consuming more of them, it's like it's kind of, you know, making the detox kind of a moot point, you know? I'm not saying banish people. I'm not saying that, you know, you're use your discernment, you're the master of your own life and everything. Um, but let these things disintegrate, let these things leave your body, and listen to what your body needs right now and just be gentle with it, especially if you're in this group. Um, there's something else coming up here with the solar. Some of you who are in this group would also benefit from claiming yourself, claiming your own feminine energy, claiming your field, claiming your body. That's interesting, claiming your body, especially if there has been any, you know, physicality in terms of these connections that have taken place. Um, yeah, definitely a strong like reclaiming or claimation is how it's wanting to be said. They keep showing me the tailbone. I feel like there's also something, I want to say, misfiring between the solar and the sacral, but that's almost because the sacral needs to be freed, especially in terms of your own like natural feminine energy. And some of you are going to start to feel like your own feminine energy is actually going to rise, which is really cool. Um, we've been how do I want to say? We have been going through quite a bit of a solar plexus rising in the collective, but this particular collective, this particular group, it's like there seems to be an importance on your feminine rising too. Interesting. Yeah. Okay. I do believe that's everything. I know there's a lot this morning. There is a lot. Um, and I don't know if this is going to be a continued format or thing. Y'all know I'm just flowing, but I won't lie. I'm really enjoying this format. It's like, it's been nice to just be like, oh, this is coming through. Let me just like hop on here and just give that information real quick and then go about my business. Um, yeah, I don't know. It's a vibe. But anyway, thank you guys for hanging out with me this morning. And I hope that these messages support you. Again, I know it was a lot of information, and you know who you are, you know if it's for you, you know what is for you in the midst of all this. Because again, I was speaking to many different groups of people. Okay. But I am gonna go, but I hope you guys have a great Friday. And there was another channel message that got posted today. So if you want to check that out, just go to the videos tab on the homepage and check that out. Clyde coming next. Yeah. Yeah. He's been extra cute the last couple days. The energy was intense for him too. Like, oh my God, I almost felt bad for him. Like, especially on 11/11. Oh, he was a wreck. But he's doing a lot better now. But yeah, I'm gonna hop off. So enjoy your day, enjoy your weekend. Oh, patrons, I will be live this weekend for the will I be live? Well, the patron weekly is definitely gonna come out this weekend. Probably tomorrow. I have sessions I need to catch up on today. Yeah, I haven't decided if I'm gonna be live on that or not. I don't know. This Mercury retrograde's been interesting, so I'm just gonna see what feels right in the moment, as y'all know. But you can expect the weekly to be posted probably tomorrow. And also a schedule for the New Moon Scorpio live. Very curious to look into the astrology for the New Moon Scorpio for obvious reasons. Yeah. Anyway, I'm rambling now. I should go. All right. Love you guys. Take care and have a great day. And thank you again for being such an amazing group of just people who have supported me for so long throughout the years. And I'm just very grateful for you and grateful that I can still do this kind of work. So, and I'm only able to continue to do this because you guys show up for it. So thank you for that. And now I will depart. Okay. All right, guys. Take care.